So most of you, I think, have already started working, not as a UX designer, but most of you are in creative fields or software industry. So I think you know how the job hunting works, and I will tell you how it is working in UX industry and how you can get a competitive advantage if you learn something about how to get a job in this industry. So number one is you should have a strong portfolio. So if you apply for a job, the hiring managers or the recruiters, the first thing they ask from you is to send your portfolio. So if you don't have a portfolio, you won't be able to proceed with the job hiring process. So make sure to have a portfolio build. As a starter, you should at least have 2 to 3 designs. So if you don't get any projects, make sure to design something your own, maybe for the charity, maybe for one of your friends or something like that. In your leisure time, try to design something UX, website design or mobile application design. Even if you find out, now let's say you are using a banking application and you don't like it, you can try designing a new layout for that particular banking application and maybe use different name and put it in your portfolio as a project. So that is how you can build a portfolio. So portfolio creation is a good thing. Actually, you can use the platforms as I mentioned in our first session. Ripple and Behance are two free platforms that you can host your design and showcase your designs. So you can upload your designs in here and maybe write your design process. So we call it a case study. So if you Google the term case study on Google, so it will give you some UX case studies. So in the case study, what we do is we first tell our viewers, website or representation viewer, what is our role in this particular project and what is the time frame it has taken and how we approach this kind of a project. So those are the things that we have to consider. So this is one of the case studies that I have added. So let's use this one, maybe some other one, maybe this one. So first I have added the role and the time frame and quick description and tag. And these are the steps that I have followed to come up with a solution for this problem. So I have added all the research data and the problem and all the diagrams I have created prior to my designing, the user research and the process I followed and the features and all the wireframes and everything, competitor analysis, research data, and everything is there. So you have to tell this story. So because otherwise, if you just put your designs, just put your final designs like this, it won't give your recruiters or the hiring managers about the idea how you approach a UX project. So always make sure to write a document. So with the help of ChatGPT, now you can easily write a story just by giving it the valid points. So if you follow the process, you just have to tell them these are the competitors I use, these are the uh, people I interviewed, these are the research findings. So if you give ChatGPT those inputs, it will give you the story. So you can easily put them in your portfolio and present it. So that is how you can write a case study to showcase in your portfolio. So if you only upload pictures, it won't give your users much details about how you approach a project and what is your design thinking process and so on. So strong portfolio is must. Number two, update your LinkedIn profile. So most of the recruiters, actually about 90 to almost 100% in foreign countries, they are posting their jobs on LinkedIn. So there's no any other boards that they are using. Even in Sri Lanka, most of these companies are using LinkedIn. So make sure to update your LinkedIn profile to with your latest qualifications and the working experience. And even if you completed a certificate course regarding UX or any other, please update it in your uh, LinkedIn profile and make sure to put your uh, everything that every professional qualification you already have, and put a professional picture, as well as build a network. So add some people that you think that will give some value to you when you browse LinkedIn website. So update your LinkedIn profile is also must. So that is the number one source that you can look for a job opportunity and apply for a job opportunity. Number three is get real world experience. So even though you design so many things earlier, like for an example, let's say I ask you to design this for a capstone project. So that is actually not a much real world experience. So real world experience is something that you have to find yourself. For an example, let's say you are using your banking application or a mobile service provider application, and you are facing some issues, and you have to think of how we can improve the UX flow of this particular application, how we can send money easily to this particular user by using my banking application without an issue. So those are the things that you have to consider and try to find the answer to this kind of a real world question. So that is the only way that you can learn about the UX design process and apply what you have learned in the classroom to your designs. So even when you get a project from a client, some of you might get projects as freelancers, and some of you might get projects when you're working under a company. So whenever you get a project, please try to follow the whole UX process. So that is the only way that you can get to know what are the things that we have to prioritize in the UX process. So what are the areas that we will take more time than others. So you have to do yourself to get to know all this. So get a real world experience is also must. So as a starter, even though if you don't have much real world experience, if you apply for a jobs like internships or even jobs in a startup industry, you will get more real world experience. Actually, in startups, you have to, even though you are a UX designer, you may have to do the whole process. So that is a good learning experience for you. You may have to gather requirements and uh, communicate with your clients, and even research about certain products, and maybe some of you might have to do the front end coding. So working in a startup will give you a great experience when comparing to established job role. So if you like to get more experience and more exposure, look for a startup jobs. Okay, number four is network. So we talked about update your LinkedIn profile, and number four is network. So even in LinkedIn, please try to add more people, more inspirational people to your network that you can learn something every day. So for an example, if you want to become a product designer, add product designers in different industries. There are so many people working in well established and blue collar companies such as Google or Facebook or any other companies, and you can follow what these people are doing. You can follow their uh, passion. What are the books these people are reading? What are the things that they are designing these days? So you can network with these people and ask few questions. Even in Sri Lanka, there are some IT companies, and you can communicate with those people, your colleagues or anyone that you need to follow, and asking questions about what are the projects that you are working on recently, and what are the softwares that you are working. Are there any frameworks, new frameworks that you are following, and so on. Always try to network. So if there's any UX related meetup or something like that, you can participate and you can get to know people in the industry as well. So especially if you are trying to go abroad after doing the certificate course and after have some experience. So if you go abroad, countries like Singapore and other countries have these meetups every day, every weekend. So you can go there and participate and get to know people in the industry. So that will benefit you when you want an opportunity. So they will remember you if you are a good designer, if your designs are sounding, they will let you know if there's an opportunity. So networking is also important. And number five is familiarize yourself with web development. So even though if you only do the design, most of the designers nowadays are familiarized with front-end development or a web development. So at least you should be able to code a website using HTML and CSS. So there are some sources online, free sources, even YouTube videos, and even some online courseware that you can follow to you learn coding like HTML coding and CSS coding and some JavaScript. The basic skills are important when comparing to the someone who only have design background. So let's say you are applying for a job as a UX designer and another person is applying for the same job, but this person have web development experience. He know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript as well. So most of the time, this person will get the advantage when comparing to the person only have designing background. So make sure to familiarize yourself with web development. So if you're good in web development, we have to learn always uh, further. So if you're familiarized with web development, try to learn front-end frameworks such as React, AngularJS, or Vue.js. So it will give you some advantage in job hunting, and also it will give you more value. So even though if you go for a UX design job, you can negotiate your salary. So I have these skills as well, so I can contribute to the company's success by giving 100% of my skills. I have UX design skills and development skills and everything. So you can make sure to negotiate and get a good salary as well if you are competent enough with web development and designing. Okay, next one, give up thinking you are an imposter. So give me 1 second. All right, so we talked about familiarize yourself with web development. Next one is give up thinking you are an imposter. So when you're applying for a job, always make sure to fill your CV with the qualifications that you have. If you are not good at something, let's say you are not good at UX research or visual designing, don't put that in your CV. Because if they ask you questions about this particular subject, and let's say UX research, if you don't have any answers, they will reject you. And always make sure to put only the things that you are expert in. So in a scale of 1 to 10, maybe you have design skills like visual design skills up to 5, UX research skills up to 3 or something like that. So always make sure to put your expert skills and don't put anything that you don't know about. And also when you using your portfolio, don't upload other people's work. So the interviewer or the hiring manager will get to know when they ask you questions, and with your answers, they will get to know with their experience, is this person an imposter or not? Is he lying? Are this his original work or someone else's work? So always make sure to be genuine, and also put only things that you know on your CV or a portfolio. That is number 6. Okay, don't give up on the hunt. So when you start looking for a job, so even for the UX designer with so much experience, like 10 years plus experience, there will be rejections. So when even if I apply for few jobs, up to 10 jobs, there will be rejections. So you always have to make sure that you don't get these rejections personal. So most of the time, these people are rejecting you because not because they don't like you, but your profile is not matching their expectations. Let's say for an example, as a UX designer, I have experience in banking industry for 10 plus years. And now I'm applying for a healthcare job opportunity. So I don't have any experience in that particular domain. So these people will reject my application. So even though they reject you many times, don't give up on the hunt. So there will be some job role that matches your previous experience and your expectations and everything. So don't give up on the hunt, even though they reject you in your job applications. Number 8 is ask for feedback. So as UX designers, number one thing that you have to consider is feedback. So even for your designs, you have to gather feedback from your users and the stakeholders and also clients, everyone. So when you participate in a job interview, always ask, like they will give you some design assignments. So assignment to create a web application or a mobile application UI or something like that, and they might reject you. So after the rejection, you can ask for the feedback. What are the reasons that you rejected me? What are the things that I can improve in my design? So always make sure to ask for feedback and learn something from those people as well. So it is actually even in the UX design industry, if you get a job, you always have to get feedback and you have to take this feedback gracefully and don't take it personally, because some of the users will give you critical feedback. So if you try to take it personally, you won't be able to work in the industry for so long. So always make sure they are giving feedback and important critical feedback to your designs and not to you, not to yourself. So don't take it personally and make it as a investment to improve your design and become a good designer. Number 9, don't get greedy. All right. So when you start off your career, like let's say you get few opportunities, people like your design and you think that you should upscale your pricing as well. So let's say you started as a freelancer and you get few projects on platforms such as Upwork or freelancer.com or something, and you think that after few designs that you have to uh, upscale your pricing little bit. So let's say you started off with $100 pricing and then you suddenly think that I can go for 500 or $1,000. So if you get greedy, people will realize, so this person earlier did for this budget and he's not gradually increasing the pricing, he will go for a higher number altogether, like really fast. So if you get greedy, it will negatively affect your profile as well. So even if you do a salary negotiation in the company, if you only have few years of experience, don't go for higher numbers. Always make sure go to websites like PayScale or something like that. In PayScale, they don't have any data in the industry in Sri Lanka, but in all other countries where UX is a good career path, they have data. So you can follow this data and ask for a reasonable amount as your salary. Even in Sri Lanka, you can ask your fellow designers with similar experience what is the salary you are getting. So that is how you can negotiate, and don't get greedy when these negotiations or giving the pricing for your projects. 10 is attend hiring events. So there can be some hiring events, especially in universities, open days or something. Some hiring events will be there, career guidance events and so on. So if you're interested in this particular company, let's say you earlier get to know that these companies are visiting this university's hiring event, maybe WSO2, IFS, Virtusa, or some Millennium IT, or some companies that you like to work are attending these fairs. So what you can do is you can go there with your CV and talk to few people in the industry, maybe UX designers or maybe hiring managers, and get to know about them. So ask them if there's any vacancies or opportunities. The events can be even virtual, so you can attend the Zoom meetings or the LinkedIn uh, hosted meetings or something like that. And always make sure to build connections and network with these people. So whenever they get an opportunity, they will post it somewhere. So first, people get to know about this, have an advantage uh, to apply to it before everyone else. So attend hiring events. In Sri Lanka, actually, we don't have much hiring events in software industry, but in other countries where they have events or hiring events and also exhibitions, career fairs, you can attend to those as well. So in our country, most of the universities are conducting hiring events for their students, actually. 11, mentor another student. So let's say you learn something from the classroom by the recording or something like that. And if you try to teach it to another student, you will learn it more. So make sure if one of your colleagues are interested in UX design or something, make sure to teach them what you already learned in your own words. So it will give you more understanding about the subject that you are trying to teach, and also it will increase your knowledge in that particular domain as well. So always try to mentor another student about the subject that they wanted to know, about a thing that you learned in the classroom as well. Okay, number 12, keep a positive mentality. So when you're applying for job, as I mentioned, there will be so many rejections. Some people will directly tell you that your profile is not a good match and you will be rejected. Some of you might get through some interviews. There can be many interview rounds in UX industry. So the first one will be the hiring manager interview, and then there can be okay, first one can be the recruit interview, then there can be a technical interview, then finally hiring manager interview. There are some companies who do director or CEO interviews as well. So some of you might get through and get rejected in one of those steps. So let's say your recruiter selected you, but you failed in the test and you went all the way through and the CEO rejected you. So that is disappointing actually, even for me, when I applied for some jobs, not recently, few years ago. I went all the way through the final interview few times and I got rejected. Some of these hiring managers will get back to you saying this is the reasons that we are not hiring you. Maybe my salary is too high for their expectation, or maybe I don't have enough skills in the industry. Maybe I don't have enough years of experience. So they will tell you directly. But some of these people, they don't get back to you, so that is also disappointing. So you will feel negative, like disappointed so many times. So always make sure to keep positive mentality when you're applying for a job or applying for a project as well. So let's say you get a job or a project. So even if you get a project, always make sure that UX job is we have to communicate and interact with people every day. So there can be different people. Some people give you critical feedback. Some of your managers will give you critical feedback and like let's say uh, unachievable goals during certain time frames. So always make sure to keep positive mentality and handle the pressure uh, when you're working in the industry as well. All right. Number 13 is increase your network. So increasing your network is also important. It can be a virtual network like LinkedIn. So let's say when you're looking for a job opportunity, you apply for few job opportunities and you have few connections. So after few years, let's say you work in this company after getting a job for 4 or 5 years and you are looking for career change again. So don't wait till that moment to increase your network. So during the day, during those years that you're working in another company, try to increase your network. Try to get to know important people, decision makers, and tell them what you are doing. Share your designs on LinkedIn or share your qualifications and everything. And make sure to update everything in your LinkedIn and put your portfolio keep up to date portfolio as well. So it will help you to uh, get more opportunities as they arise. So increasing your networks virtually as well as in personal. So let's say you are working in a software company, attend events, attend hiring events or anything that you meet your fellow co-designers or any decision maker and build a network, and it will help you when you need any job opportunity or any help from them. Job shadow. So job shadow is also another important thing. Let's say you start off your career in a UX designing and you don't know what the UX designer's duties are, like day-to-day duties in office environment. So what you can do is you can like get a free internship opportunity and observe and ask questions from fellow UX designers, the senior designers. What are the things that they have to do in daily basis or weekly basis? So they might say that they on some days they do research, another days visual designs, another days stand-ups and meetings. Some days they visit users and gather requirements and so on. So if you don't have like working environment and ask these questions from people to ask. So what you can do is there are videos in YouTube called Day of a Life of a software developer or a UX designer. So you can shadow them and see what the duties of this particular job role is. So you have a good idea when you go for a job or when you get an opportunity, you know that these are the duties that the management is expecting from me. Am I comfortable with working this kind of environment? Is this the things that I want to do in daily life? So you have to uh, get to know about the job by doing job shadowing. Next one is don't be afraid. So let's say you have good design aesthetic and you have come up with good designs and you found solutions for people's problems as well when you do designs. So what you can do is after you have good experience and you have good confidence about your abilities, you can apply for positions in any company actually. So let's say you afraid to apply in certain good companies. Like if you apply in Sri Lanka, try to apply for top 5 software companies or designing firms that you want to work. So some of us don't like think that we are that good. So what we do is we are not applying for these good companies and we are just applying for middle range companies, and we think that if we apply for these big companies, we don't get an opportunity. So it is actually not like that. If you apply for companies such as even in Sri Lanka or any overseas company, if their job advertisement or the responsibilities or your duties matches their expectations, they will give you a chance to participate in an interview. So if you can impress them with this interview, you have an advantage. You have an opportunity to move forward in this hiring process. So don't be afraid to apply for any position in any company. Number 16, don't sink your teeth in a first piece of meat. So let's say you apply for few opportunities and you get your first job. So, but this company is not paying as much as you expect, or it don't have a good working culture. They are not valuing personal life, so they ask you to work on weekends, work long hours even after a normal day shift. They ask you to work staying in the office at night. So this is not a good working environment. So you have to make sure, even though if you could get a good opportunity, if it doesn't match, if it doesn't align with your uh, like priorities or your values, you can reject this opportunity. So first opportunity you get can't be the like final opportunity or the best opportunity. Always make sure to align your skills, align your priorities, align your values with your job role as well. Otherwise, it will disappoint you when you go for the job every day. Okay, next one is be honest. So be honest only apply for the job industry. In life as a practice, we have to be honest. So in UX industry, when you uploading your portfolio designs or anything, always make sure to be honest and not use other people's work. Always make sure to give them the right research or the UX process you follow, because otherwise when they ask question, you won't have answers. And even in your resume or a CV, always mention only the qualifications that you have, that you are good at. And even in your portfolio, upload only designs that you have done, not other people's work or copied designs from other people's work. So you can don't have actually don't copy the same thing. You can get ideas from other people's work and do the designs accordingly. Number 17 is be honest. Next one is know your strengths. So when you get your experience, when you uh, learn and when you start off with your career, you get to know what your areas that you have more strength. So for an example, some people might have a strength in communicating with other people, interaction, and also some people might have good visual design skills. So you have to understand your skill set and make sure to find and uh, advance your career by focusing on these strengths. So, but one who good with people, one good with communication or interacting with people. Uh, he can find a career in UX research because he have to interview people and so on. If you're good in documentation or content writing, you can be a UX writer. If you're good in visual designing and you like design aesthetic and working with colors, you can be a visual designer. And if you're good at interactions and animations, micro interactions, you can be an interaction designer. So you have to know your strengths and improve your career based on these strengths. Number 19, do as much UX related stuff as you can. So as I mentioned from the beginning, so every day you interact with some kind of a product. It can be a virtual product or digital product or a physical product. So every time you interact with certain elements, certain product, always think of it as a UX designer. So is it UX friendly? Is it user friendly? Is it doing what it is supposed to do? Is it? Uh, can I make it better? Can I make it better for users? And can it have a better user experience? So those are the questions that you should ask when you are interacting with different products in daily basis. Do as much UX related stuff as you can. Number 20, wear your drive on your sleeves. So you spend so much of time and you put so much of effort, time, money, and uh, everything. And now finally you are a good UX designer and people like your design and you get good feedback from your clients and also from users. And then you can kind of show off where you drive on your sleeves. So if you don't show the world that you are a good designer or anything, people don't know. So whenever they get an opportunity, they get a project idea or anything, if they know that you are a good designer, they will contact you. So if you are not announcing, if you are not broadcasting, or if you're not telling other people by sharing videos, so by sharing pictures of your designs, by sharing posts on social media or even LinkedIn, they won't know that you are a good designer. So if you finally became a good designer by spending so much of time and doing so many sacrifices in time and money and everything, make sure to show it off as well. So in that way, you will get more opportunities if you are a good designer. So those are the things that I want to tell you about finding a job. And if you already have a design job in the UX industry, These are the tips that you can follow to find a UX related job. So if you have any questions regarding this presentation or even your project or even anything that we discussed during our previous sessions, you can ask now.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm working as a graphic designer. So recently I completed certificate in web designing and diploma in digital marketing. So after this program, will it be useful if I study full stack development?
Full stack development. Do you have any coding background? Are you familiar with HTML, CSS?
Yeah, I
And
have done certificate in web designing.
okay, do you have any real world experience, hands-on experience apart from the certificate?
No, I haven't
Okay,
done anything.
okay, okay. Actually, in UX and also for the front end of the full stack development, when you do a course, a certificate course, they only cover up to certain parts, certain theories. So if you want to become a good proficient designer or a developer, you need to get some hands-on experience. So I will encourage you to do some real-world designs first, maybe UX or a web designing. And then when you're doing these designs, you will face some challenges. So that is how you should learn. So doing a certificate will help you, but when you go for a job opportunity, there will be some issues. So if you don't have practical knowledge, if you haven't faced any issues when you try to develop, if you don't find solutions your own to those problems, especially with the chat GPT and AI, it is really easy for anyone to develop. So make sure to do more projects in whatever the field that you like. If you like creative industry, you can do creative graphic projects. And you did this course because you want to UX field. Now do some UX actual projects. And after some time, when you think that you are good in UX, uh, take some front-end projects. So most of the time for me, actually, when I start off my career as a UX designer, some of my clients ask me to code their website or products. So that kind of opportunities will arise. So always be patient and uh, get some real world skills and then move on to do full stack courses or anything. Is it clear?
Yeah, so but I have experience in graphic designing more than
Okay.
2 years.
Yeah. Now, what is the career path that you are looking to do in
Uh,
5 years?
yeah, now I'm currently working as a graphic designer. So I thought of improving in UI designing. So it goes with the graphic design, right? So they see for UI part also. So I thought of completing it. So I had an idea of full stack development. So as you
Yeah.
say, if I get projects only,
Not only, it is the way that you can self-learn. So most of the web developers and the graphic designers, or even I think even you yourself, if you consider the things that you learn in a course, uh, the hours you spend on graphic designing yourself, that is when you learn your graphic designing skills, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so the certificate will give you some paper qualifications, but if you get more hands-on experience with the like actual project, will get you far. Is it
Yeah.
clear?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay, if you need any guidance regarding front-end development or full stack, you can send a message on WhatsApp. So because I'm also doing full stack development, front-end and full stack, so maybe I can help you as well.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Janet?
No, sir.
Okay, how are you mentioned that you into photography, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you going to apply the things that you learned in
No,
UX
I
course?
currently I am learning HTML and CSS.
Okay,
After that, I'm thinking to get the freelance.
all right, blue. So there are some good freelancing platforms. I'm also actually using Upwork. So I recently did use it. Let me see. So if I go to my Upwork profile, so do you have any freelancing account already?
Not yet, sir. In
Okay.
UIU, not yet.
Okay, so Upwork is a good platform that you can start off, or even there's Fiverr, but you have to the projects you get are really cheap. So I'd recommend you to sign up to Upwork, and then in the profile, and there will be jobs posted. So you can apply for one of these jobs if it is matches your qualifications, and you can maybe set up the hourly rating or a fixed budget and apply for jobs. So when I start off my Upwork profile, I think it was years ago. So if I go to the very first project I got here, okay, this one. So it was actually 2015, and it was $150. So as I mentioned in the presentation as well, I wasn't looking for really high-end opportunities. I was only doing these three jobs. So when I find that people like my design and they give me good feedback, I applied for some higher ending prices as well. So that is how you should launch your design portfolio in freelancing platform as well. Start off small, and with the user reviews, you will get good rating. So right now I have 100% success. So if you maintain that, you will get more and more opportunities. So always make sure to maintain a portfolio and get users feedback, and give your users more than they expected. So that is how you can be successful in freelancing industry. So if you need any help, you can send a message as well on WhatsApp group chat.
Okay, thank you, sir.
How about Ratna Sekara? Any questions? Sasanka, how about you?
Yes. When it comes to these designs, like I mean, in Figma, we normally create the design, and then if we want to, like, my biggest question is how to do the coding part in a certain way. But I think you sent the link, which I didn't check yet though. So I think I can learn that platform as well. I think knowing that would help a lot, isn't it? Uh, in order
Yeah,
to understand the back of the work, I think.
yeah. So even if you like do design only, if you have a good coding
Yeah.
background, you know what front-end developers can do and can't do. Because some of the
Okay.
times, when you have design only background, you design some things that coders will find it difficult to code. So it is also a good practice to learn something about coding as well. In Figma, let's say
Okay.
you design this kind of a component set. So you
Okay.
we switch on the developer mode. In this version, they don't give it, but if I go in here, let's open another file. And when
So
you click
Figma itself have the developing app as well. Is that so?
Not actually, but you can
Okay.
use plugins to do that. But in
Okay.
Figma, they will give you the CSS code, the styling sheet, or the
Okay.
colors and everything, where you can use it as a style sheet for your HTML. So if you are using any other framework, if you're familiar with React or something, you can take the React component code as well. So learning Figma will give you the styling code for your designs, but you have to uh, create the code separately. There are some plugins that you can use to create the complete code, but I don't recommend you. I
Okay.
always Please always make sure to learn coding yourself as well, because if you face a situation where that you want to debug or something like that, this won't help.
Okay. Is there a different word to Figma coding? Saying that as in this called UI UX, right?
Yeah.
So like that, is there another name to learn the entire coding system for the applications as well as website styles?
Yeah. So actually in the industry, what we do is after we create the Figma design, after all this UX process, then we have the tool called Framer. So in Framer, what we
Right.
do, after we create the prototype, we create reusable components by using Framer. So we can use it in any code. So they can export to any framework such as React or even Microsoft or even AngularJS or WordPress, PHP or anything. You can
Okay.
export the code. So, but in order to use that, you need to have basic understanding of the HTML and CSS and some part of JavaScript as well. So in please try to learn those three, and it will help you to ease up your learning process, and it will give you good advantage as well in the
Right.
industry.
Just framing a framer is a software, is it?
Yeah, Framer.
Okay.
There are some other tools as well. I will put on Google Classroom.
Okay. All right, that will be great. Thank you so much.
Any more questions?
Sorry, just one more. So after this class, there be another class next week, or this is it though?
This is the final session actually. I will add some comments to your designs on Google Classroom.
Okay.
And if even though this is the final session, if you have any questions when you designs or anything, you can always send a message on WhatsApp group chat and I will answer.
All right, that's great. As well as do you know anything about the certificates, how they are being handing over
I
and all
think you
that?
have to ask them from the administration, Modita.
Administration.
Yeah.
Okay, right. No
Yeah,
problem.
please
I'll
send a
ask that.
message on group chat and he will answer.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much. Sorry, just one more. These videos and recordings, will there be there for some time? Because I would definitely like to just go through one by one and just go through entirely rather than rushing it
Yeah, I actually don't know about that. I think they are deleting them after 2 weeks. So it is a
after
good
2 weeks.
thing if you can download them and save them locally.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
All right.